Assalamu alaikum again. Assalamu and peace out to the rest of you. Black Heart Sign and Black in again with a follow up to the last one. There is a proverb, and I think it's actually a Swahili language proverb. The proverb says that when the elephants fight, the grass suffers. This is exactly what's going on in the case of Shadid Muhammad and Saeed Rageah. As I stated, these two don't hate each other and they're going to have a civil disagreement. Now they're going to disagree and they're going to go at each other, but they're going to do it in somewhat of a civil manner devoid of hatred. But the communities now are pointing fingers at each other, and there's not really much that the rest of us could do. We are the grass that is suffering even after the elephants have finished with the fight. Because of that being said, there's not really much I'm going to be able to do, not really much any of us are going to be able to do, except to try to speak to voices of reason before heads become too hot. But one thing I did notice, though, was this. Most average lay people in the Somali community don't know about this. They don't know what Saeed said. They don't approve of it, but they don't know. Many African Americans who are Muslim know about this. I discussed this with my wife, and we came to understand something that supports what I said previously, and that is that we have many things in common, and one of these things in common I mentioned was the trauma. Well, I mentioned that the trauma would come from the way that we treat each other, and that it would come from the outside. Well, she mentioned the same thing after I uploaded the last recording, and she and I got to talking. Because one of the things I asked her was, has any one of your family or friends pressured you to leave or to reconsider staying with an African American? And she said, why would anyone say something like that? What happened? And I told her, well, I'm not saying this out of hatred or anything. I'm just wondering because of this this debate going on between these two imams. And she said, no, a lot of us don't even know about this. I only know about it because you mentioned it. But nobody said anything, and that said to me right there. That told me right there. When it comes to actual willingness to push the other side away and start pointing fingers and say, you and most of you and all of you, that's actually more on our side than it is on theirs. However, by the same token, most of us from both of our communities do have this habit where we like to sit up here and we like to start making jokes about each other. We're very slow to give a compliment to somebody, and we're very quick to give an insult. This is the truth of the matter. This has to stop. We say, oh, it's just jokes, it's just part of the culture. Yeah, well, the culture is ucked up. We're quick to insult, and we're very creative with the insults. Now, some people have asked, well, Blackheart, in my personal, real, physical life, some people have asked Blackheart, how is it that you have been able to get along with these people here so well? I mean, they're called us slaves and everything, and yet you've gotten along quite well with them. Well, I actually don't socialize in my personal time and freedom with most of them. But by the same token, there's something else that goes on, too. And that is that at the end of the day, one of the reasons I was able to do it was because I realized that if we were to take compliments and become creative with compliments, the way that we are with insults, I could use that as a way to blend in more easily. I could use that as a way to learn the language, because I wanted to be able to be eloquent in the language. But in order to be eloquent in the language, I had to practice. And it wasn't good for me to go practicing insults on people that had never done anything to me or anyone else for that matter. So I figured, okay, well, let me try to get creative with compliments. And they would raise their eyebrows and they would say, wait a minute, we have some of the same sayings, but, and you see the people I'm living with here, the people in whose country I live have the same thing. They love to get creative with insults, but not with compliments. But sometimes they do get creative with compliments. And now here I am taking this and using it to learn the language. But because most people in the world don't like to do that, but we love to get extra creative with insults, especially inside of our own communities, we have developed insecurities. And we're not the only two communities that have it, but we are two communities that share this, and now we're at each other's throats. And consequently, each one of us is eager, super eager to point the finger at the other community as a whole. One of the things that might be able to heal this is if we practice this internally and externally, and that is getting creative with compliments, which is actually a principle of Islam anyway. Let's try that. Give it a shot. Come back and leave a comment underneath here and let me know how it goes. Hopefully one day this will be normal. Until that point, hopefully something I've said will be a benefit. Blackheart, sign of blackout. Assalamu alaikum.